Welcome and good morning to Mike Ferry TV. We're going to talk this week about mindset, but before I do, did you create a practice plan for yourself based on last week's skills conversation? Are you practicing with intensity, or are you practicing at all? I have to tell you, it doesn't matter what objections you create in your own mind. Good topic, mindset today. It doesn't matter what you refer to. It doesn't matter how you see yourself. If you're not practicing your skills, you're simply not going to get better. That's all there is to it. And part of that, of course, is the word mindset. When I did the tour back in May, June, and the one I have coming up right now in August, September, with the brokers on the East Coast, I'm talking about 4 words: mindset, motivation, skills, and action. And mindset is the first of those words. Now, the question we all ask ourselves is, what exactly do you mean by the word mindset? And I think in the simplest terms, I can say to you, mindset is nothing more than what's going on in your head at a given moment about anything or anybody. What's going on in your head? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? Where are you going? You look at somebody and a mindset or attitude is formed or formulated on the spot. You see something and a mindset about that something you see is created on the spot. The obvious question is, are most of the mindset thoughts that you have about people and things in a positive or negative manner? And that's the challenge, because see, life presents us, in most cases, with a pretty negative view of the world. People ask me all the time, should I read the newspaper? Should I watch the news? And I go, well, if you want to know what's going on that's wrong, read the newspaper and watch the news. If you want to know what's going on right, you have to look for another avenue to control what goes into your head. It's interesting because, see, you and I are nothing more than a summation of the thoughts we have. When I talk about prospecting, what thought comes into your head? Is it a thought that says, I'm never going to do it, I don't like that, I'd rather be involved in social media, where I don't have to get rejected or talk to people? If I talk about a canned presentation, what comes into your head? See, these are what you call a mindset. And those mindsets control the actions that you take. Watch: mindset, motivation, skills, and action. If I don't have a positive mindset about what we're talking about each week on Mike Ferry TV, then I can't develop the motivation to go out and use it. If I can't develop the motivation, I'm not going to spend the time developing the skills, which means the actions I take are not going to be productive. We really do have to focus on our ability to understand what goes on inside our head most of the time. I wrote down a series of thoughts I want to share with you. I wrote down first, the negative thinking that we have, because everybody has it, is always more powerful than the positive thinking because there's so much more of it. When's the last time you picked up the newspaper and saw any good news? When's the last time you turned on ABC News and saw any good news? Or when's the last time you just casually had a conversation and said, how are you? And you heard them say, I am great and getting better by the moment. See, that's just not how we think today. And it's kind of sad because how we think today reflects upon the actions we take. You see a for sale by owner. Do you accelerate or do you step on the brake pedal? Watch. You see it, a name and number in your message book. Do you call them back, or is it too negative, you don't want to hear what they have to say? The phone rings and you look at your phone and say, oh, I don't want to talk to that person, they're a pain in the neck. See, these are mindset issues. The negative thinking is always more powerful than the positive thinking because there's so much more of it. Then I wrote down, we really do have to be a lot more honest with ourselves about our skills, because the skills give us the mental strength to do what we have to do daily. The mental strength. See, do you have the mental strength, the discipline to do your job every day the way you're supposed to? I get several hundred emails a day, and I have for many, many years. And it's interesting that about a third of them, as I've told you before, are junk, and I just delete those. About a third are people who want to tell me their story, which is always interesting and sometimes boring. And a third are the results people get from using the material we teach. And it's always the same. And it's always, Mike, once I recognized that I could control what happens on a listing presentation by using the scripts, I had more control and I got more listing contracts signed. I get thousands of these per month. People that take control of their mindset And the strength of their mindset by the ability to develop their skills. The third point I wrote down, we have to develop an unwavering desire to achieve the goals we've set in spite of the daily ups and downs we encounter. See, in real life, and you know this, there's good moments, there's neutral moments, there's bad moments. Some of these take place virtually in a matter of moments. The highs and lows that we go through. The advantage of being an independent contractor, your future income is unlimited. The disadvantage of being an independent contractor, your future income is limited based on how you think, what you say, and what you do. So you develop the mindset, the skills, and the actions, and then you have this desire to achieve the things you set out to achieve. There's nothing stopping you. So then I wrote down, we have to make a tough decision, and that is to move away from the traditional farming open house, or today we say to you the tradition, because everybody wants to use it, of using Facebook as a method of prospecting. We have to move away from that to understanding that we are in the people and communication business. That's a mindset shift. People and communication. I have an email that I received 2 weeks ago from a young man back on the East Coast, one of our clients. And he was talking to a corporate executive from the franchise that he works in. And the corporate executive said to this young man, who's in his late 20s, does 100 deals a year, "How do you do it? I want to come to your office and see how you do it." So the corporate executive from the big franchise came to this young man's office, and of course, he stands up, he has the headset on, he has his scripts up, he has all the prospects he's going to call, he has a schedule laid out for the day, he has his goals in front of him. And the corporate executive said, "So what do you do?" He said, "Well, I do prospecting, I do lead follow-up, I pre-qualify, I go on presentations, I follow the Mike Ferry system 100%. And the corporate executive said, "Well, aren't you involved in social media?" And the guy smiled and said, "No, I don't have a Facebook account, I don't tweet, I don't Twitter, I don't do that stuff." And the corporate executive said, quote, "We have tens of thousands of agents that are doing that stuff, and they're starving to death," close quote. To which our client said, "Well, why don't you have Mike Ferry talk to all those agents?" Well, then we get that blank stare. Watch, see, the blank stare is a mindset. See, guys and gals, you have to understand something. That you have to at some point move away from what doesn't work to what does work. That's a big mindset shift that we all have to go through. And of course, then I wrote down, in terms of mindset, the drama and emotion that is involved in real estate is very high. We know that. Oh my goodness, I've got a great lead. Oh my goodness, they listed with somebody else. Oh my goodness, I made a sale. Oh my goodness, it fell apart. All those things take place in a matter of moments. The drama and emotion, I wrote down, costs you time and money and ruins your mindset. See, you've got to eliminate all the emotion from this business. It's not a complicated business. You've heard me say this time and time again. People want to buy, people want to sell. Your job, get in the way. That's your job. To get in the center of these activities and potential transactions. Why can we not get in the center of these transactions? Simply because we don't talk to people, and that is a mindset problem, okay? I also need to say to you, and it's a mindset issue, we need to be willing to be coached 100%, whether it be your broker, your manager, or my company, and develop the attributes and skills of a coachable person. Our coaching clients, I talk about this all the time, the skills of a coachable person. Are you open-minded? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to change your behavior? Are you willing to try what the coach says? See, as you keep saying no, you're creating a stronger mindset problem for yourself. And of course, whenever it comes to mindset, we have to look at the very obvious, which is, how do we control it? How do we expand our minds? How do we become stronger? So I wrote down a couple thoughts. I wrote down first, we need to spend a little bit of time each day, 10, 15, 20 minutes, reading inspirational books about people that are doing something that we could also do. Because the truth is, almost anything anybody else has done, we can also do, because if somebody else has done it, we can do it also. So personally, I like to read about all these great successes and these great biographies and autobiographies of all these great people, because it inspires me and keeps my mindset positive. I wrote down, listen to inspirational CDs. Do you know how many of the great CDs you can just download from myself? And they're not even, we don't even charge you for most of them. to keep yourself motivated, turned on, enthused. I wrote down, spend more time with people that are doing more than you're doing. You know, we have our Superstar Retreat coming up in October, Miami Beach. Are you registered? Are you going? Do you want to spend time with several thousand motivated, excited, enthusiastic people? Do you want to be in that environment? Oh no, Mike, I don't like things like that. Of course, you have a negative mindset. And then, of course, I wrote down last, to develop a strong mindset, you need to spend more time in seminars with people like ourselves. You know, we do almost 40 four-day seminars a year in the US and Canada, not counting our European operation. If you really did want to learn, if you really had the mindset that you want to expand and grow, it's there for you. So here's what I want you to think about last, okay? A major portion of the mindset success that we have revolves around our attitude, approach, and expectations. How many times have I brought that up to you over the course of the last 4, 5, 10, 15 years? And the answer is all the time. Because mindset and attitude go together, okay? Approach. And the approach is what you say to how you look and how you feel about yourself, how they respond to you. And expectations are what do you expect to have happen? See, I'm always accused of the same thing. Mike, your expectations are too high. These people are not going to do what you say. See, I start every 4-day event with this expectation. Every single person in the room is to do every single thing I say. And it usually takes 4 days of negativity on some people's part to convince me that some people aren't going to do what I say. But if I start a seminar thinking, they'll never do this, guess what? They don't. How high are your expectations when you follow your schedule? How high are your expectations when you do your prospecting? How high are your expectations when you do your listing presentation? How high are your expectations when you take a listing and expect it to sell? It all comes down to mindset. One of the most exciting parts about life is you can control this. You can control what goes in and what comes out. Let's make the decision to start controlling it today. It's an exciting thought, and it leads directly into next week's conversation with all of you, which I'm excited about presenting to you next week. Have some fun this week, control your mindset, develop it, make it stronger. See you next week.